has the power to scan through your email to see whether or not there is information that they can use to do targeted advertising toward you. But now they've actually joined forces with local police departments and federal officials in order to catch you if you have any imagery or any type of messages that depict children being abused, specifically child pornography. So let me give you some examples. Now, according to Forbes, technology giant Google has developed state-of-the-art software which proactively scours hundreds of millions of email accounts for images of child abuse. The breakthrough means pedophiles around the world will no longer be able to store and send vile images via email without the risk of their crimes becoming known to the authorities. Details of the software emerged after a 41-year-old convicted sex offender was arrested in Texas, Houston specifically, for possession of child abuse images. That portion of the story was actually originally reported by The Telegraph, but it does bring up a really interesting debate, because when it comes to new technology, when it comes to the digital era, a lot of people are concerned about our privacy rights. But if our privacy rights are being violated in order to catch people who are guilty of child abuse or pedophilia, should we allow those rights to kind of fall by the wayside?
Well, the story goes even...
You're tweeting during the show.
No, the story goes even further, because I'm very up on this story. First of all, the way you said Google has the power to read your emails. They are reading your emails. Not only do they have the power, they're using it, and on every email, which is how they get those targeted ads when you go around the internet. Oh, look at that. How did they know that I wanted to buy shit to make me look less bald? How did they know that? Because I wrote it in an email. And so I don't use the Gmail anymore. And I know they own YouTube, which is where this show airs, but that is the overreach, creepy, Orwellian thing. So can't believe people still use Gmail. Do you use it?
I do use Gmail. Yeah, I mean, I'm
it's my junk email. Like I give it
out,
and I use it. Like, you know, if I'm filling out a sweepstakes, they get my Gmail address.
Oh yeah,
that's really interesting.
I still use Yahoo, but
I use Yahoo too.
The interesting thing about this I found was that there's kind of a moral dilemma, right, with child pornography. They found that the more pornography there is in a society, the less sexual violence there is in a society, and especially for pedophiles, they found this out, that pedophilia goes down if they're allowed to have exposure to what they consider child pornography. Now, here's an interesting thing about child pornography. If you're an of-age person and you dress yourself up to look like you're underage and do a porno, that's still illegal. You're not supposed to be depicting an underage person. So the moral thing is like, well, wait a minute. So there's this whole problem of Google knowing what our emails are and then sharing it with law enforcement. Yeah. But there's the bigger problem of now, is this actually hurting? Are we going to have more child sexual victims because we're prosecuting child pornography, right? Am I out of my mind on this?
No, I think you're taking a little. Yes, if in fact pornography goes, or sexual violence and predatory behavior goes down, and pedophilia goes down when they're exposed to pornography and child pornography, there's still children who are in child pornography.
Yeah.
So of course, that's not going to be your remedy to this crime. This is a bad thing in general, but out of some bad things come good results too. And if they're able to get some of these, especially the traffickers of this, through this,
invasion
the
of
three of us
privacy.
are not going to change the fact that they're invading the privacy or that they have the capability of doing so. Then, you know, if it can be put to a good use like this, maybe it's one good use, well then you should at least do this.
So
I think,
my question is, where does Google draw the line though? Because there are a number of different things that are considered illegal. So when does Google decide, hey, you know what, this crime is more serious than that crime? So if we find that someone is selling drugs, well, we're going to let that go, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not going to deal with that. Instead, we're just going to deal with...
It's a squiggly line of law enforcement.
Right, and also you have to keep in mind that it's not just people in the United States using Google or Gmail. You have people in other countries using Gmail, and they have different laws on the books. So how do you determine whether or not a law is something that you agree with? Because as an official at Google, you might have the service available in a country where they might do something like, I don't know, oppress women, or you know, do crazy things against gay people. Like you have certain laws in African countries where it's a crime to have gay sex and you're going to be locked behind bars. So if someone sends out an email to their gay lover, do you turn them in? You know what I mean? I don't know if I feel comfortable with Google policing our activities, even though of course I don't agree with child pornography or pedophilia. These people should be behind bars, but I just don't like the idea of a software program deciding whether or not someone is doing something illegal.
Basically, it goes back to the idea of reporting a crime when you see it. And this exists, and it can be debated because it's not like going, walking by your neighbor's home and see him punch his wife in the face. What do you do in that situation? Well, more than likely you report it. Maybe you don't, but you see it. The same thing here with Google. I mean, they stumble upon this through whatever matrices they have that are going through all of this email, and they see pornographic pictures of children. Is it incumbent upon them to report it? Probably. If they're employing this technology, that's a whole other issue. Should they have this? Should they use it? I don't think so. But if they are using it and they found legal ways of doing it, then I think it is incumbent upon them to report some of these things.
I just want to make that one point about, you made the point that if there's child pornography, there's a child involved. But according to the story, like I said before,
there are sometimes people who dress
grown-up
up
people who look, or even computer-generated images. That's also illegal.
No, I know, but we have
really
seen real children. I mean, we have seen it in report after report. Real children, people who have been abducted here in this country, taken to other countries, what have you. So it exists,
Right. What if? So
I didn't know that law, by the way. That I didn't know that if you dress somebody up, what about like all those like the cheerleader porn that's out there and things like that?
You would think, right? So maybe they're dressed. They say, "Oh, we're dressed up like college cheerleaders." Maybe that's what they say to get around
like
it.
Trent Lott and George Bush.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe
college cheerleaders.
College cheerleaders.
Yeah.
I think you got to be. This comes down to the problem of you have to make a decision. Do I want to use Gmail? That, to me, it's not illegal what Google's doing. You know that they're doing that. Don't use Gmail. What are you, nuts to use Gmail? You got to be nuts to use Gmail, especially if you're a child pornographer.
Yeah, I use Gmail, and the reason why I use Gmail is because I really don't have anything to hide, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like the fact that they go through my email. And it's not like one individual sitting in a dark room, like checking every single email you're writing. It is a software program. They look for keywords, and the whole point of it originally was to sell advertisements. But now it's gone further than that. And anytime we do a story about the NSA reading our emails or the NSA violating our privacy, Google will be one of the first companies to come out and say, this is ridiculous. We can't believe that this is happening. But you're working with authorities.
Right.
You're giving them information about us. So you're in cahoots with them. Don't deny it. Don't pretend like you're outraged. This is what's happening. This is the age of new media and the digital era, and it's the high price that we pay for doing things online.
It's a high price. It really is.